Time is X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Hour. We have a lot to get to. We have a lot of recaps. I actually forgot to tell Aaron what we're going to be recapping. So we're going to start with race 9. I think it's or race 8. I don't know. Whatever the pick 6 sequence started with on Saturday at Gulfstream, because we're not going to start from the beginning. Personally, I don't remember a lot of the stakes at the beginning. There was just so many. It was a fantastic card. There's a lot to. We'll get to some college basketball stuff. Unfortunately, the SEC is not really standing anymore. There is one team left in the Big 12. And then we have Gonzaga, which is my name, which I have a massive talking point that we have to get to. We'll do that at the end. Aaron, how was your weekend? I know you're still repping your Sooners. We had Papa Dude on Saturday. I don't think he was wearing any Oklahoma stuff, but I gave him some jabs. He did say Villanova, and I try to warn him. I said it comes down to guard play, and once Baylor kind of kicked it in, they took over. But how was your weekend? Did you get to do anything fun with your wife or see any family, or kind of just take it easy and enjoy it on Sunday because Saturday was action-packed?
Yeah, it was a very good weekend once I got over the always shopping loss that we'll discuss here in a minute. And well, I guess it wasn't a good weekend because it took till about Monday for me to kind of move on from that one, but yeah, it was good. It was good, man. Yeah, Papa Dude wanted me to let everybody know that he is convinced now of Baylor. He bet Baylor to beat Arkansas with the points, so he was very happy about that. But yeah, I think everybody enjoyed the last couple of days of basketball. But now you've got one of the best meets, each and every year getting ready to come up in Keeneland on Friday. So yeah, like I said, we're very busy. The Derby season is unbelievably almost over as far as the preps, but probably the biggest weekend of the year coming up. So a lot to talk about. Like I said, a lot to recap from last weekend as well. Yeah,
this is the one weekend where you kind of have the beginning of Keeneland with a Triple Crown, obviously the Wood at Aqueduct, which I'm sure we'll talk about on Friday. And then you have all the Santa Anita Derby stuff. So it's like one of those few weekends that you actually can merge it. Because to your point, after this, I think it's the Arkansas Derby, and that's it, I believe, on the Triple Crown Trail. So we're like 75% of the way done. We're like at 90, 95 after this weekend. Obviously, Keeneland will roll around, and then Keeneland ends and Belmont starts. I don't know if they work that out timing-wise. I don't know if that's just the way it always is. I don't remember off the top of my head. But to your point, it is very special April's a great month, even though there's not long-term effects. It's more short-term, like what we're going to see in the Derby, and maybe, God forbid, horses don't make it, and they end up in the Preakness or Belmont. Whatever the case is, we will see that this weekend. We'll see a lot of horses, a few horses at Keeneland that we're going to get to talk about on Friday. So hint, hint, we'll be at Keeneland on Friday. Tomorrow, probably Oaklawn again. This is the first Wednesday Oaklawn card we've ever gotten to do because we usually do Gulfstream, which is fine. But Gulfstream kind of not going to be mean, but their horses are a little weak nowadays. But that's okay. So we'll be covering we won't be covering Gulfstream on this show really anymore. But that's fine. We'll figure it out. Maybe another Wednesday down the road. Let's get into what we thought were a lot of stakes races. Once we get to always shopping, I will let you take it away. I will leave my comments for myself because I want you to speak on that. So this is race 9. If you guys aren't aware, if you want to go back to your past performances, we highly encourage you to do that. If you want to go to Equibase and just check the results, if this is a little too small, you can do that as well. We're starting with race 9. It is not a stakes race. I believe it's the only stakes race in the sequence that we will be covering. The prevailing theme here in this allowance optional claiming, it was almost a turf race, to be a stakes race on the turf, to be honest. it was say off going gate to wire. The biggest takeaway for me is the speed really, really held. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit so you guys can see the times. I mean, it was a little quick to the half. 46-3, they're cruising. Javier Castellano was able to kind of just sit there. And Aaron, we talked about this a lot. When you have a horse that's on the lead that might be going quick, it's not the same as to where there's a horse to his or her right or right off the throat latch and they're pressured. So that was my takeaway from this race. What did you maybe take away from Say Off with Javier Castellano, or maybe you were looking at a price to get home? Obviously, the short 5-2 favorite was able to get the job done.
Well, I'm really glad we're going to do the whole pick six because I'll kind of give the insights of what I was thinking doing each one of the races. And I think that's important because, just to kind of kick it off, it was a $108 ticket and the single was to Always Shopping. And I'm kind of going to explain why I picked him or picked her as a single and what that meant for the rest of the races. And this is one where we probably would have been out right off the bat if I don't single somewhere, because while I like Say Off, you hit it on the head. I thought the horse would be a short price and one we could beat. But when I singled Always Shopping, I was able to go 6 deep in this race, and my 5th horse on the ticket in this race won in Say Off. And again, it's not that I didn't like that horse. It's just, there's a lot of pace. And I kind of think, today maybe he gets pressured a little bit and fades. That was not the case. This horse just rolled. What a race. And, man, this horse has found new life since the barn change. And I'm telling you, that was a really good performance. You said this was like a stakes race. We'll see this horse in a stakes race next time out. No question about it. So, yeah, it was all smiles after here. It's like, all right, I went deep in this race, and I needed to go deep, and I got it. So I was happy after this one.
Yeah, exactly. It's real. It makes me really question the race itself, right? When you get a favorite and a decent favorite, I mean, you could see 2.70, and then the next one, Summer to Remember, was 4.20. So a decent size favorite, notable. But not a lot of people were hammering this horse necessarily. Yeah, we got there, and I went deeper also. I think I used 4 or 5. I know I used Noble Indy. I know I used Hey Dakota. I know I used Summer to Remember, and I might have used one more, maybe Chocolate Bar. I don't remember. I might have used one long shot. The problem is when you go to the 5th, right, like for you, I think you used 6, and you got it with your 5th choice. It's kind of like, all right, we barely snuck by, and we barely snuck by with a favorite. That's always a bad sign to me. One thing if you sneak by with a 5th horse that's 10-1, all right, now you feel like you got some value, but it's like, did I really need to go there? That's kind of my prevailing thought as well regarding the ticket structure, not regarding the race. But to your point, I would love to see Say Off in a stakes race. I think he proved that he could do that. I would like to see Noble Indy also, because I thought Noble Indy, it was a long shot that I used. I expected Paco to get to the lead. Now, I'm not sure if he was good enough necessarily to win, but I need Paco on a horse that's not that good based on the tote board. I would assume all jockeys have an indication of what their horse is as they enter the gate, or maybe in the backstretch when they're warming up, whatever, jogging. You got to get that horse to the lead, and I was really frustrated that he never did. Maintained second, which meant to me maybe he could have won. Did you use that horse at all? Did you maybe have the same reservations or anything like that? Because I was disappointed in the way the horse was ridden, but I actually loved his performance based on the odds and what he was going up against.
Yeah, I did not use Noble Indy. I was going to use one of the speeds there, and I thought Say Off was the better of the two. And you're right, Noble Indy, I thought would be on the lead or very close, and really kind of just took back. Probably saved both those horses. If they kind of go head to head, then maybe it sets up for the closer. So you just never know. I mean, what's going to happen? Those gates open. And if you would have told me that Say Off would be 2 lengths clear or a length and a half clear on the backstretch, I would say you're crazy, But that's why I always tell people that you see a race and it sets up on paper. I try to tell Samich this a lot, to be honest. And, he's got his own thing. He's not going to listen to me. But you can't look at it and say there's 3 speed horses in the race, so none of the speed horses have a chance to win. You still have to remember that the jockeys are seeing the past performances. They're reading exactly what we're reading, and they get different ideas in their heads. And these jockeys have a mind of their own, and they're going to do what they think's best, whether you think it's best or not. They're going to do what they think is best. Yeah. And when he kind of didn't aggressively go at Sayoff, it changed the whole dynamics of the race. And you have to remember that in the back of your mind. They don't run these on paper, right? And once those gates come open, anything can happen with that pace. That's one thing to remember.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to end it. Basically, I'll sum it up what you said, and it kind of goes into the next race as well with Churn and Burn. Basically, I need any horse to just win. And Paco Lopez might be saying, look, if I go for it, I might finish 5th. If I kind of just do what I need to, maybe I can pass. Yeah. But he's going to get a bit by going for it all. You end up risking a 6th place finish with a horse that's not that good. If he kind of sits second, I'm not accusing Paco of that, but it is a fair point. He's going to make more money by finishing second than going for the glory and not finishing it. And it was kind of similar to what we saw here. It was a great segue. I told Aaron, it's kind of like that Oscar music. I start scrolling down, which means we wrap up. We got to go. Churn and Burn. You had this horse and I didn't. I'll just say who I used. I'm officially done with Sadler's Joy. I've made a list of a few. I'm not going to say out loud who I need to stop using. A lot of some of the older horses that it's not like the younger ones because we don't really know. Sadler's Joy is officially my top horse on the turf that I have to stop using unless Sadler's Joy just drops in for a tag or something like that, because I think he would be that much better. But anytime I see him in a race that someone else looks decent, I have to stop. So that's all I have to say. Congrats to you on Churn and Burn. This was the Pan American Stakes, by the way, for 4-year-olds and upward going 1.5 miles. All right, Aaron, take it away. Speed, gate to wire. Julian did a fantastic job. The price was a little shocking. I thought we'd get a little bit better, or you would get a little bit better. But kind of walk me through what you thought with Churn and Burn and maybe who else you used. And do not say anything about Sadler's Joy. I already learned my lesson.
Yeah, I'm not going to beat you up over that because I've done it 100 times and you're not going to listen. So what can I do about it anymore? I've tried.
Well, I'm done. I'm officially done.
A crazy person is just doing the same thing over and over and over again, which is what you do. But I won't be crazy and tell you to stop over and over and over again. Actually, I probably will. But, in the last race, I was saying, boy, it just didn't turn out like we kind of thought. This race did as far as the pace. I'm talking about the pace. It just looked on paper that Churn and Burn was loose in the lead. Horse was gate to wire. Really, this was never in question. And this was great. And again, I went 4 deep here. This was my second horse on the ticket. So there's a situation where you go, oh man, maybe. Oh, I'm sorry. No, in the pick 6, I went 2 deep. I went with the 1-8. I'm sorry. Let me back up. I was thinking about the pick. I had the pick 5 ticket up. The pick 6, I went 1-8. So the Churn and Burn was the second horse on the ticket. So again, you're 2 deep. You get it home. It's 5-1. I'm feeling great, And again, he just let him walk on the lead, and it was over. It's really hard to make up ground in the stretch of a 1.5 mile race when a horse isn't stopping up front. So, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, you called it perfectly. You went short, and you said 1-8. Cross border made a lot of sense. I don't know how much better cross border is than some of the other horses. I don't know what happened to Temple. I have no idea. Had a shot early on in terms of closeness. I would have. It's fine if you go gate to wire when you go slow. That's fine. And that's up to me as a handicapper. That's up to us as handicappers. That's up to the wagering public. You can't beat Temple when it's that slow and consistently fade. That's a problem to me. So I wrote that horse down as can't use. To be honest, I know you might hate this opinion. Sadler's Joy ran 1,000 times better than Temple did. I know Sadler's Joy didn't win, but Temple was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. And I got a better price on Sadler's Joy as well. So at least Sadler's Joy beat someone halfway decent because he didn't beat anyone else outside of Temple. That was really all that good. There's not a lot to say here. other than the speed, gate to wire. When you go that slow, it's tough as a jockey, right? Because once the position establishes, if you press your horse, it's kind of like you're making a move then. If you make that move and it doesn't work out, you're last. You're hanging out with Rajika and Angelus Warrior. So it's really, really tough. These races are really, really difficult to figure out. And I love 5 furlong turf sprints. I have not figured these distance races out. It's really tough to do it. It really, really is. And the best thing I could advise, or the best thing I've learned, is if they've gone this distance before, maybe that's all you could rely on. But I don't think the class really means that much when you go this long.
It's the pace. I'm telling you, the pace of those races make the race. I mean, I know that's a saying for every race, but in those long races, the pace is a bigger factor than in any other races. That's just my opinion.
No, and I agree. When you have, like, I don't know if you guys can see, when you have a horse up here and a horse down here, when the distance is like that, they really shrink. And the distance, the talent gap is about this. To Aaron's point. So the pace is just that much more important, as opposed to a race where it's like this normal. We think the class or talent usually wins out. We can sum this up. This race, the color-based stakes, Annex gets it done again, but it's short price. I listened to Magic Mike. The problem with Annex is you're going to continue to get a short price.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see, I think, Fauci at Keeneland maybe Friday, or I think Fauci's, right? Fauci's a 3-year-old that we fell in love with. I think Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure. I believe Friday. Like, is Annex good enough to run with a horse like Fauci, or like a Golden Pal from last year? Or like, is he good enough? I don't know, because he continues to have these races where he barely wins. Now, you know who else used to do stuff like that? Zenyatta used to win races like that. I'm not saying this horse is Zenyatta, but Aaron, does this concern you? Because you're going to have to take a short price. Maybe if we see him in a turf race up at Belmont and the competition's stiff, we won't. But if this horse is going to continue to run it at Gulfstream, where the competition's now getting weaker as we enter April, May, June, July, are we going to continue to bet this horse at 3 to 5? Because we saw just a touch over even money now, and the horse is barely winning. I'm not sure what we can do with this type of horse.
Well, I tried to beat him here, and I played him on the ticket, but I tried to beat him as far as a win, and that was obviously a mistake. Here's what I will say. This horse reminds me a lot of Greatest Honor, but on the turf. I think he's good. I don't think he's great. I think he's beating horses that aren't that great. And I think when he gets in a tougher field, he's going to burn a lot of money. That's just my opinion on him. And, people gave me shit when I said that about Greatest Honor this week. And they'll probably give me shit when I talk about Annex. When you get a body of work, and for horse racing terms, now we have 3 races, which is enough to kind of start to formulate an opinion, especially when the 3 races are all same surface, similar distances, right? He kind of just consistently runs lowish numbers for stakes horse, stakes caliber horses. Eventually, you're going to get beat. If you would have told me before the race this horse was going to run a 78 buyer, I would have said, well, we've beat him. And he won the race. And he's winning, and that's great. But at the end of the day, he's going to go up against a lot better horses from now on. You're going to take him to New York. I don't think there's any doubt. I don't think he can beat the better turf horses. But good on him. He took advantage down there at Gulfstream, just like Greatest Honor did. And he exits with 2 stakes wins and an undefeated 3-for-3 record. But the waters are going to get deeper. He's going to continue to take money. I think I thought we could beat him here, but I definitely think we'll beat him next time out.
Yeah, I'm not scrolling down to end this. I don't know. Aaron, can you see me highlight that or no?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, perfect. That is the key to what we do with this horse. And this is what I mean. If we see a horse like that in a tougher spot, I don't mind playing him at a price. And this is why. I'll trust Bill Mott.
Mm-hmm.
If I see this horse run at Gulfstream, then to a bigger spot, like I'll mark this down, I think it's important, then I have no interest. Because what that means is we're going to just run him at Gulfstream. This is where he belonged. And at 3 to 5, or whatever, that means they should be good enough to win. You're not going to get value on a horse like this if he continues to run at Gulfstream. You're just not. So You have to look at this horse and say, do I want to play against? Because to Aaron's point, he will lose because he's not running that great. Or, and Aaron, you could tell me what you think. Do these turf runners that he's running against are so bad, he'll just never lose to them at Gulfstream? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe things can develop, but based on what we're seeing, it's not going to change.
What I would do with him if he was mine, I would not run. He's not going to stay at Gulfstream. So I would get that out of your mind. I mean, and if he does, it is just a huge sign. But I would say his next race being at Gulfstream, I would put that at a 1% chance. What I would do if I were them, I would not run that 3-year-old race on the Derby or Oaks undercard. I can't remember which day it is because that's going to have some heavy hitters. I would go to the Preakness undercard, and I can't remember the name of the race, but there's a 3-year-old race for on the turf. That's kind of where I would put him next because that usually draws a weaker group, but it's still a big race on a big day. That's where I would take him next. And then after that, you have to go to New York where Bill Mott is, and you're probably going to face some really nice turf horses from that point on.
Yeah, I think the race you're talking about, there's like a Twin Spires turf, which is 5.5. That wouldn't cut it for him. I'm trying to find the race you're referring to going on the turf. It's the American turf. I think the American turf.
Okay, that could be it. Yeah,
it's 500,000 for 3-year-olds going 8.5 furlongs on the turf. So right on the undercard, that would be probably a spot. To your point, though, I agree. Or in my other opinion, and maybe this is the races at Belmont are coming up. Maybe you just bring him up to Belmont and give them an allowance spot just to see how he stacks up, because I think a lot of those allowance runners, those turf runners, are probably better than these stakes field. So I wouldn't mind that as well. And there are a lot of ways you can go. I don't think Belmont would keep him there, but if for some reason he does, it's a massive sign that this horse is not very good and he's just kind of skidded by. That's a fair point. And nonetheless, if he stays at Gulfstream, he will be taking a short price. The Gulfstream Park Oaks, there were a lot of people on the live stream that went back and forth. Not this guy. I said Crazy Beautiful is much better. And I was sick and tired of these boom horses. Aaron, you're very patient in terms of like, who is the Pletcher horse? Prime Factor. Oh my, Prime Factor. That horse sucks. Milf Will. Oh my goodness. Ran well against Malathot, who I don't like. Milf Will. Oh my god. This horse hasn't won at all. So I'm always the guy who might be a race late. Like, I maybe could have jumped on it here. But I think a lot of people, these buzz horses, not maidens, that doesn't count. These buzz horses, like, we're waiting, and they never pan out. And now we were all disappointed. I love Crazy Beautiful, and the fact they got 2-1 on a horse that was so much better and so much classier, I think was a gift. Were you in my camp in terms of you wanted Crazy Beautiful, or were you into this Millie Philly, whatever, or Cone Lima, who took a lot of money, was dreadful as well?
Yeah, I went 3 deep, and Crazy Beautiful was the third one on the ticket. And so you're seeing a pattern with my ticket. The last horses, or close to the last horses I threw on, were winning these races. So I was getting away with it. It's like, well, of course, you could always say, well, why did you single Always Shopping? If I didn't single her, there's no way we would have been alive going into that race. So I want to just keep reiterating that. That's ticket structure for you. That's kind of your hand gets forced on cards like this where you don't have that strong opinion. Okay, as far as this race, Crazy Beautiful was just really, really impressive here, I thought. And I think it's more to your point of you're right. The other horses just didn't run very well. Cone Lima was a horse a lot of people put on top. I stayed away from putting that horse on top. I don't like that turf to dirt. This doesn't work very often. And when it does, we talk about it. It seems like for years, like Catholic Boy winning the Travers. We talk about that forever now because you just don't see it very often. Usually a turf horse switches to the dirt. They don't run very well. But and Cone Lima was awful. As far as Millie Philly, Turner for Home, this horse was gone. I thought, wow, this horse is going to show what she's all about. And she just got murdered by Crazy Beautiful. And I would rank Crazy Beautiful like 4th or 5th in the Oaks, like running right now. Millie Philly, See ya. I am completely done with you after that. You had no excuse. You look like $1,000,000 and you got waxed. You're done. Millie Philly is done with me. And not only will I not ever pick her on top, I'll never even use her again. She's done.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin O says more like Millie Vanilli instead of Millie Philly fraud. I think that kind of sums up the very end. The first, what is that? 7, 8 words is funny. The last one is accurate. The ninth word of the statement, fraud. Yeah. This field is a bunch of frauds. And you know who told us that there were frauds? Todd Pletcher told us there were frauds. You want to know why? He put a turf horse that sucks. That took money. A 6-5 turf horse.
Yep.
Sucks. Absolutely sucks. That's the horse that took money. Now, I will say on Crazy Beautiful, if I can get her at a price into the Oaks, 10-1 or higher, I'm taking a shot. And here's why. She showed that she can close in a very, very, very slow race. This race kind of had a feeling to me that Crazy Beautiful was kind of running her own race. Like the fractions weren't going to affect her. Whatever everyone was doing up front was going to affect her. I mean, she was dead last. And they were, the final, you could see the final 6 seconds there was 6:40. It was slow, but she made up a lot of ground into a lot of slow fractions. If it's going to be quicker in the Oaks, we know that. It has to be quicker. They can't be as bad as what we just saw. Is she good enough to close? I don't know, because as we know with closers, sometimes they're going so fast up front, you kind of have to stay with them. Aaron, can she close if it goes 23-4 and then 47-1 or 47 flat or even 47-4, which would be much quicker than we saw here? At a price, I think I've seen enough where I can make a case for her at double-digit odds. That's about it.
Ask me after the Ashland because I think there's some decent chances. Or I think out of the 6 horses, like 4 of them might be decent. If the Ashland kind of disappoints, or maybe it's just one horse that runs well and the others aren't very good, then I think you turn to this Crazy Beautiful and you say, other than Travel Column and Clairiere, this is one that's got a shot. I'm kind of with you. I don't think she's very good, but I don't think she's bad either. And the thing I love about her, she's faced the best horses in the crop before. As 2-year-old, she banged heads with the best. She always runs. She's very consistent. And I'm kind of on that board with you of I don't love her, but if you're looking for a price, this one's starting to make sense.
Yeah, I just want to bring up some of the point. Like, we're going to see Malathaat. Haven't seen her in a long time. Simply Ravishing. Haven't seen her in a long time. And a lot of fillies are picking this spot. I'll take Crazy Beautiful right now. Not over that group. I'm just saying at a price. Like, I'd be willing to take her. And she has some recent races. And that Oaks, for example, like Malathaat, I don't like her. I've been saying that for a long time. And the fact she beat Millie Philly, who everyone's off of now, is proving my point. Maybe she is just better, and she ran well in the Damoiselle. Meant nothing to me. I'll be playing against Malathaat this weekend for sure.
I haven't made that final decision yet. I'm working on the guide now, but I'm kind of leaning towards that camp because it's like, think about if this was the Derby Trail and all these horses are coming back at the very last prep. We would not be excited about this as far as the Oaks. We'd be like, whoa, they're way behind. And then you got Will Secret sitting here that's just picking off wins at Oaklawn in perfect form. So anyway, that's kind of just a preview. I may end up picking Will Secret just for that fact. But anyway, let's go on. The music is playing, Ricky. I see it. So let's go on.
No, yeah, I have nothing to add here. This is all you. I used Always Shopping and Delta's Kingdom and Sister Hannon, and I was a loser. Oh, I also used Bellora, so I went 4 deep. All right, go ahead. Always Shopping. Talk about it. What did this do to the sequence? How are you feeling? I know you're on the live stream single to this horse.
Yeah.
And I'll make a point that you're going to like. after. But I'll let you go here. What did you think? What were you feeling? Were you nervous based on the way things were playing out? All that stuff.
Dennis, you made this comment, and it absolutely is a perfect comment and something I want to drive home, and I've been trying to drive home. I loved Warlike Goddess too, and that's what hurts so much. When you put out a ticket for you cannot, like, you know how it is, Ricky. You put out tickets for people as well. You can't make a $200-$300 ticket. That's just not the right thing to do. And for a pick six, you want to keep it around $100-$150. Like, that was the budget, and I couldn't add the horse. I just couldn't do it. And she was my second choice. And if I could have put one more on it, that would have been the one. But I just thought Always Shopping would beat her. I thought it would come in 9-1. And it came in 1-9. And the thing about it is, and we'll talk about the next race, I used 5 horses. The 5th horse on the ticket won the Florida Derby. I didn't have any other options. I didn't handicap it well enough. My opinions weren't good enough in all the other races where I could have went shorter and then put, Warlike Goddess on the ticket. So no need to apologize. I liked her too, but I liked Always Shopping more. Listen, it was one of those things. They turned for home, and I thought we had it. And the more I saw Warlike Goddess, the more I knew we were going to get caught. It's one of the worst beats of my life, betting horses. And I've been betting them since 2007. This is one of the worst ever. I didn't sleep for a couple of nights after this one because it was so close. If Warlike Goddess wins by 3 lengths, okay, whatever. But when it's a nose, you think of all the things that, could have happened differently. And, you're talking about, I don't know what it would have paid if Always Shopping wins, but I think we would have had, a couple of grand, on $108, maybe $1,500, but $108 ticket, it would have paid enough. Let's put it that way.
I would have said you're at least 4 figures. I probably would have said in the 12, 1,300 range because I feel like, now, granted, the pools were enormous, but a lot of people, I think, look at this race and said, I got to find a single. This is probably it. Yeah. Now, if you were to single a horse like Warlike Goddess and go deep somewhere else, now we're in a different situation. Yeah. Obviously, you got multiple thousand. Couple points that I want to bring up. The first one is Always Shopping didn't lose this race for you. You know who lost this race for you? Sister Hanon and Belle Laura. And I said it on the live stream. Those 2 horses pushing each other allowed Warlike Goddess to close. Now, one can make the point, well, Warlike Goddess ran her own race. She came from 8th. Look, you didn't need to go that fast into the first turn. You had 2 horses, and we're looking at the odds. Sister Hanon, almost 19-1. Belle Laura, 15-1. There was no reason to do that. That is why you lost. But to Aaron's point, and I appreciate him saying this, he put out a pick 6 ticket that was properly priced. If he were to throw Warlike Goddess in, it's over $200. Now, granted, maybe on a day like this, if you want to play your own personal ticket for a little bit more than you normally would, I'm with you. That's fine. There's a lot of money on the line. I think what they get up to, Aaron, probably like 8-9 million, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm cool with that. I'm absolutely cool with that. But to come back, like, for me, I didn't like Warlike Goddess at all. So I don't really care. And I think I was out already before this. I didn't mind. I had Always Shopping, and I had Sister Hanon and Belle Laura for the reason that I didn't think they'd go kill each other. Like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? That pissed me off. When you have a long shot, and Aaron, you know this better than anyone. If you have a long shot, you need to run your A race. You have to. These horses are making themselves run their D races, and look at where they finish. Horrible, absolutely horrible by Corey Lannery and Edgar Zeiss. And I'll tell them if they were on this live stream that there was a piece of shit ride by both because I had no chance. And you would have won. I guarantee if they just sat there and didn't push each other, you would have won. Enough with that. I'm done. This race just hurt me painfully. Let's get to the last race before we move on to Oaklawn, the Florida Derby. I'll start by saying I didn't have a known agenda. Soup and Sandwich, I'll be honest, Soup and Sandwich looked like one of the best horses in this race, which is horrible because Soup and Sandwich is probably like your 15th contender going into the Kentucky, right? Something like that. 16th, I don't know. I didn't look. Greatest Honor, you're a fraud. You are an absolute fraud. Collaborate, another fraud. I don't care if he was bumped at the start or not. He couldn't beat me. Spielberg, I'm actually saying this, and Aaron, you brought this up to me. I'm not sure if the New York breds are better. A damn sure conversation that we're going to have on Saturday based on what we just saw. Not one of these runners is a Kentucky Derby contender to me. That's it. I'm done. You can go.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't really want these horses back in the Kentucky Derby. I will give Todd Pletcher a ton of credit for getting known agenda to this point. I mean, this horse did not look good at all. In the Remsen, did not look good at all at Tampa. Got this horse back, got a confidence booster, got the blinkers on him, and man, just a fantastic race for known agenda. As far as the performance, now, do you think this horse going to make an impression on the Derby? No, but this was a really good performance. So give Todd Pletcher credit. Like I said, last horse on the ticket for me. I sat here all week and said I'm not going to be shocked if Known Agenda wins, but I can't play that horse to win, just based on all the things that we had seen, the resume, and even that allowance race won by a lot of lengths, but didn't come back anything flashy. Speed figure wise, with the Soup and Sandwich, ran very well first time against stakes competition, and just set the pace, couldn't hold on, and then Greatest Honor. Basically, what Greatest Honor is a kind of a keen ice type that is going to hit the board in a lot of big races and not really win them, but he's taken advantage of weak fields, and so he looked better than what he was. Greatest Honor basically ran the exact same race he's been running all year. Just a couple horses were better than what he's been facing, and he got third. If you want to play him underneath, then sure, Greatest Honor, maybe he is a candidate, but really, when you get to the Derby, almost all of them are a candidate to hit the board. So it's not really saying much. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't really want any of these horses back when it comes to the Derby.
I'll sum it up by saying this was a piece of shit race. Excuse my language. This was dreadful. I'm sorry for anyone and maybe young people, whatever. I apologize. That was shit. I saw shit. Not one of these horses in my book would finish in the top 6 as far as I'm concerned. The only case you can make for Known Agenda, the fact that he's by Curlin and might want to go longer. Greatest Honor in the Belmont, I beg for that horse to show up. I beg for that horse to show up in the Belmont. Yeah. I would highly consider, I don't know if there'll be fans or not, I'll highly consider hopping the fence to play against that horse so I could have a ticket in person. I'm not sure if I'm allowed, hopefully by June. I would run. I'd consider walking from Fort Lee, New Jersey to play against that horse. I hope he shows up. I really hope he shows up. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I give him 0 shot in the Belmont.
I pray that horse shows up.
Most of the time, and again, nothing in horse racing is absolute. Nothing is 100% of the time. Most of the time, the way you win a Belmont is to get towards the front. Closers do not win the Belmont very often. Creator won the Belmont. He was a closer, so there was definitely one. He also won one of the weakest Belmonts of all time. But usually you better be either on the lead, close to the lead, or sitting maybe 2-3 lengths off of it, and you grind away, and you just kind of grind one pace around the track, don't stop, get in position, and then hopefully you got enough finishing power to win. But closers usually do not win that race.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's one of those races that it's just so long that it makes it very difficult to close. So you really need Aaron's, I'm sure he's noticed this just like I have. The way to win a Derby now, or the way to win these big time races, is not by closing. It used to be that way. It used to be you didn't want to be on the lead. Now, if you're not in the field of 20, we'll use the Derby. If you're not within, Aaron, like 1 through 5, it's really, really tough. Like really, really tough. And if you're sitting 5th in front of good speed, like we'll see from Concert Tour, and unfortunately we're not going to see Life is Good. Like, you're not closing. You're just not. You're going to be too far back. Same thing with the Belmont, where it's even drawn out more. I forgot to do our little ad read, so I'm going to do it now. That was our Close Shave Rocket launch, brought to you by Manscaped. Support for the Rocket Hour is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for everyone listening today, 20% off, free shipping with the code Manscaped. Aaron, I do want to say, this beard was brought to you by Manscaped. I know their products are for the below the waist area, but they work everywhere. So don't just think you're getting a one-off. You're not just getting a one product. There's so many good things that you could use for multiple occasions. Hence, by when I went out last weekend, someone asked me what I put on. I sent them to a link to the website. We were in public. I didn't want to get into it, but I sent them a link to the website and screenshotted a picture. So guys, go ahead, check that out. It's not just for below the waist. I would say it's everywhere on your body. There are a few comments. Dennis says I'd have to send you the cleaning bill. And because I said I'd hop the face. That would be the one, like, that is a horse that I said I will not play. So if he shows up in the Belmont as a horse who likes to come off the pace, oh, please. I would love to take it. Mark chimes in with an upfront perfect, plotters perfect, commissioner almost made me rich. Yeah, if you want to sit third, even if you're wide, I don't care. If you want to sit third, perfect. Plotters perfect. We should get to Oaklawn. Any chance for a Triple Crown this year? I'm going to go no. I don't see anyone that's that good. If Life is Good would have been in there, I would have said yes. But
here's the deal. I don't think anybody's good enough, but if Essential Quality, Concert Tour, one of those two really stand out in the next 2 weeks, I don't see this as being a very deep crop. So it's possible somebody could luck into it. If somebody can make that next step up, I think it's possible. I wouldn't say no. I mean, I think there's like maybe a 20% chance we see one. How about that? I don't want to close the door on it completely until
I'm making you close the door. Yes or no, will we see it right now? Before we see anything this weekend, yes or no, will we see it? I'm saying no.
Well, I wouldn't bet. If I had to bet on it, I would say no.
Okay, so we're both no. Granted, we're allowed to change our opinions, but we're going no for now. All right, let's get into some Oaklawn stuff. Again, don't quote us. We're always allowed to change, but if the question was posed now, I'm going no. And honestly, I'm pretty confident it's not going to happen. I know Aaron's not. I don't like this crop at all. I personally believe Authentic and Tis the Law were better than what we've seen so far. Things can change. I definitely think Authentic was much better. And again, maybe we'll see what Authentic is going to do moving in terms of, like, Authentic got much better and won the Classic. Maybe Concert Tour is unbelievable, wins the Classic as well. Let's start with race 6 on today's card at Oaklawn Park. We are talking the final day of March 31st, 3/31/21. A lot of 1, 2s, and 3s in that day. It got me all confused. Starter allowance optional claiming 30,000. Aaron, I'll start with you. I thought this was a pretty wide open race. Where did you go? I see you have a little try box, which makes sense. A lot of these horses you can make a case for.
Yep, I definitely thought this was a really good try box to start the day off with. So 1, 4, 5, 7 trifecta box to start it off. I thought these 4 races we're going to talk about at Oaklawn today were all really, really evenly matched. On top, I went with the number 4, C to Success. Looked really good last time out on the debut at Oaklawn, 30K maiden claiming level. And I get that that's not like the greatest level, but at Oaklawn, these races usually are decent. You see some decent horses. And to win by 4.5 on debut, very impressive. The thing I really liked and why I'm going to play him right back here, the horse got out to the lead. And you look at the pace here, pretty much should get out to the lead again. So first time against winners is always a little shaky, but if you're going to bet it, I like it when it's a speed horse because you just kind of get out to the lead and see how far you can take him. So number 4, Seed to Success, was my top choice. Wyakin, the 7 horse, is another one that's coming out of a win last time out, and another one that I just think speed is important in these 6 furlong races at Oaklawn, and this horse should get out towards the front. And so I really think it's a situation where the 4 and 7 are kind of the 2 horses out, going head and head, and I think they'll hold. So the 4 and the 7 were my top 2. The 1, 4, 5, 7 is one to play the trifecta box. I'll let you talk about the other ones.
Well, thanks for taking my top choice at 8-1 and my second choice at 5-2. I appreciate that. You did a great job. Wyakin, the point I'm not going to say anything about Seed of Success. I think you covered it. Wyakin, whenever Wyakin has gotten the lead, he's either finished first or second, except for the one race against Midnight Bourbon. Midnight Bourbon has been running in Louisiana, if you're not aware, at the fairgrounds, and is officially in the Kentucky Derby gate, I believe, right? I think he has enough points already. So let's not hold that one against him. Okay. The one, Jackman, is interesting. Kind of just runs well. Has gotten better for Carl Broberg. Broke the maiden. I'm not sure what I wanted to do with this horse. I thought I could almost leave him off. But Ricardo Santana hops aboard, which I thought was interesting. Ricardo Santana usually rides for Asmussen. So there's no Asmussen in here, so he has to go somewhere else. For example, the 3 Outlier gets Florent Giroux. That's no surprise to me because Flo Giroux rides for Brad Cox. That doesn't mean anything to me sometimes. Yes, that's a powerful duo. But when Ricardo rides for a different trainer, that usually means his book is open because Ricardo can pretty much go to anyone at Oaklawn, outside of Flo with Brad Cox. So I really like this horse. I think he could sit off the lead, and if it breaks down, that's where I want to go. How about this 6 though, City Charm, and this is why we like this horse. One really good performance at 22-1 at waiver claiming 30,000, which that was the second win. Then has to go up to face a 62,500 over a sloppy track against allowance optional claiming. He's not good enough. The fact he even beat any horses is incredible. I think that's a horse that we're going to drop down, and it's a closer. So I said to myself, I think a lot of the speed is good. I want one closer at a price. See, there are no closers in here that I fell in love with. So I said, I'll take one at a price. If there was a closer that I thought was a really, really, really short price, I had no interest. But I said, I think I can get a price here. So I went with the 6. I know why you went with the 5, though, because if you like the 1, then you have to like the 5. Makes perfect sense to me. I think they're about the same horse, but the fact Ricardo comes to Jackman over staying was the difference for me. So that's where I went different. What did you think? Quick note, Ricardo was riding for Albert Stahl Jr., so that's not the same there. What did you think of the 5, and why did you like the 1 a little bit?
Yeah, I agree. I think you said everything you need to say about the 1. I pretty much agree with that. And yeah, with the 5, I mean, horse won. Horse beat Jackman last time out. This is it seems like a smart move to go up to this level after a win like that. And Ricardo's gone, but you got David Cabrera. He's a very capable jockey there at Oaklawn. So I thought the 5, it just seemed like the logical horse to use to kind of round it out. It was my 4th horse on the ticket there. So the last horse on the ticket, I should say. I wanted to touch on your 6, City Charm. Jason Barkley trains this horse, and he just pulls upsets at Oaklawn a lot. We've seen it a lot, and I think you're right. Last time out, ran in the allowance. By the way, that was one of the worst sloppy tracks you'll ever see. It was a mess that day.
Yeah.
So to get back to this level makes a lot of sense. It's a big class drop. Whiskey Double won that race. We're going to see him in the Bayshore at Aqueduct on Saturday. Causeway Jones almost came back to win an allowance last week. So yeah, he got beat by some pretty good horses. I don't mind that play. I think that's a good horse to throw in as well. Somebody mentioned Brad Cox with a 3.
I couldn't get there. I just couldn't.
If the horse wasn't with Cox, it would have been a toss for me. I ended up tossing anyway. So yeah, I couldn't either. I think it's one to play against. I think the horse obviously will take money, and I think it's one we can beat.
To your point on the 6, look at the odds for the 6, starting at the debut. 13 to 1, 14 to 1, 22 to 1, 40 to 1. Now, the horse doesn't know what the odds are. But what that's telling me, to your point, Jason Barkley is placing this horse properly. Now, last time out, probably not.
Yeah.
But we don't know necessarily with the sloppy track. And we're going to, we have to move on. We spend way too much time recapping, which I love doing. I really do. For City Charm, that's the horse I want. You know what I wish they did in horse racing? Like, you could go, you can go fast, good, sloppy, muddy. Is there one more? I think it's just the 4, right? On the dirt, right? They should also rate them 1 to 10. So if it's fast and there's no moisture, you can go fast with a 10, or you can go 1, whether you want it to be 1 or 10. Sloppy, if the word sloppy was a 1, you're right. It was a sloppy with a 1, because not all sloppy is the same. Not all fast is the same. That's the only reason why. I think it would maybe give us a better indication. It was a nightmare, and anyone closing on that race. So Aaron brings up a great point. Let's move on to race number 7. Yeah, Dennis says wet fast, but you know what? All wet fast, it's very, very difficult. And you know why? Because there are certain parts of the track that just dry out quicker. Like sometimes to the outside is much better because the rail will soak it. I'm not, I don't know, a track analyst. I don't walk on the track. That moisture starts to seep down. So sometimes being on the rail when it's wet fast is not good. So again, that's just my 2 cents. And there are certain times maybe where the outside isn't as good. Again, I don't know. I just think that the more information they can give bettors, I think would be better. That's a play on words, but whatever. Let's move on to race 7. There is one scratch, and that is a 7 Dutch Treat for Randy Morse, Sam Camacho. This is allowance optional, claiming $20,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-old and upward. I went kind of short here. I went with the 3 Summer Storm. I really, really liked that race. Something has clicked for her, it looks like, in 2021. Now, granted, that was against 30,000 claiming competition, excuse me. I'm not sure that race isn't that comparable. This is a pretty low-level allowance optional claiming. Mind you, $100,005 purse. Congratulations to Oaklawn for making it. I've never seen anything like that. You can claim one of these horses for $20,000. Now, granted, none of them are in for a tag. But in theory, you can. And with a purse so high, I'm not surprised that no one's going to drop. I mean, $105,000 is incredible. Rocco Bowen was able to get this horse to the lead, and to Aaron, to be brutally honest, I don't love a ton of the other speed, so I thought that made some sense, and I do like Michael Puich. I think he's really, really good. But the horse that I'm relying on is the 4, Auction Fever. I just think she's that much better than everyone else. She was able to close over a sloppy track. Then she lost the timeout before that to Jilted Bride against allowance runners, true allowance runners. Like, this is one of those races where these aren't true allowance optional claiming runners in my book. Like, the purse is just so high. So I'm relying on the 3 and the 4. I am throwing out the Brad Cox horse. That might come back to bite me. The 2 Matera, who I put in 3rd. I see here you have a 50-cent try box as well. 1, 2, 4, 6. Kind of walk me through some of the horses that I didn't use. Yeah, the 4 was the horse that I had on top. You said it best. And I agree. There's a real allowance, and then there's this. There's 2 very big differences. It seems like she's been in a real allowance. I almost put a win wager on the 4. Here's where I paused. Long time since we've seen this horse win, and that was kind of the pause. But yeah, your 3, I don't know. I think this is going to be a big jump up. I'm just a little worried that the class, I get it. This isn't a real allowance, but $30K claiming to this. I don't know. I'm a little worried about that. But you might be right. I didn't hate the horse. So 1, 2, 4, and 6. We talked about the 4. The 6 wins a starter allowance last time out. And you said you didn't like the speed all that well. I think this horse, I don't know. To me,
is kind of one that doesn't have to have the lead, but can be on the lead, but can also kind of sit just off and win and kind of pounce. And drawing the outside, I love these kind of horses when they draw to the outside because you really get a gauge of what's going on with the pace. And I think the 6 can kind of just sit whatever trip is needed here. So I thought the 6 was pretty interesting. That's who I had in second. And also one last time out, like I said, the starter allowance level at a big price. I thought the 1 Brittle and Yo was pretty interesting here. Santana jumps aboard for Sadler. This horse is coming over from the West Coast. This so makes the Oaklawn debut. A lot of times these Sadler runners, their first start at Oaklawn, they run all very, very well. So I thought Brittle and Yo was definitely one with a shot. That rail draw, it's going to be interesting to see what Ricardo does. This horse, you look at the past four and say, well, probably best on the lead. So maybe he tries to do that. But he's also another one she's another one that can kind of sit off as well. So I thought Brittle and Yo would be interesting. And then I threw Brad's horse in, Brad Cox's horse in, number 2, Matera. I didn't really know what to make of the 2 one way or the other. I don't blame you for trying to go against. I just don't want to see this horse finish like 3rd, and I didn't have it. 2 races back, broke the maiden at Santa Anita, looked pretty good last time out. Got beaten 29 3/4 there at Los Alamitos, but there was 427 days between those 2 starts. So this horse, obviously, something's wrong with it. Not very healthy. Another layoff here, but to the races now. So maybe we see this horse run a decent start, but I was just afraid to leave it off. So 1, 2, 4, and 6 for me.
Yeah, I look at the 1, and I hate to poke holes in the argument, but in terms of the winning factor, the 1, Brittle and You, I don't know what the heck she's best at. Is it turf? Is it dirt? I don't know. Is it sprinting? Probably. We haven't seen this horse go long, ever. So I have no idea what to make of her. But you're right, John Sadler and Ricardo Santana, that's more than good enough. I didn't know what to do with her because she's going to be going long. Again, Santa Anita is like Gulfstream. It's like, I think those are finesse horses. You come to Oaklawn, they're gritty. Aqueduct is gritty. I don't know if that's going to play out with a speed sprinter. You know who this horse reminds me of? That stupid Ginobili that we bet on last year. Like that sprinter. Now, granted, Ginobili was like 4 to 5.
Yeah.
She won't be 4 to 5. It's just like, I don't see that finesse game, that sprinting finesse game working here. I could be wrong. The 2 Matera, you're right. 1 start since October 12th. Like, other than Brad Cox, Laurent Giroux, if you put Renee Burrell and Calvin Burrell, this horse is 50 to 1. I'm dead serious. Like, yeah. Right. I mean, I'll be willing to beat that. I mean, this horse can't stay in consistent training, and the only time she did win was when she had put back-to-back efforts, 3 efforts in a row together. The 6 I did like a little bit. That's where I was scared. The problem is I don't know what the perfect trip for her is. Like, to your point, sometimes when it's very rare, and I think this is a case, a horse is so versatile, it actually comes back to hurt them. And what I mean by that is, like, she doesn't need the lead, so John Court sits back. But maybe she's best sprinting. Like, I just don't know, because you see so many early front lines. It does have Oaklawn experience. That's the one I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of the 6. If the 2 is able to beat me off that type of layoff, literally finishing 30 lengths back last time out, fine. And Brittle and You going long, like, that's a question mark. At least the 1 you'll get a better odd. So I don't mind it. I do like the 6. I'd be a little upset the 6 at home, but we're in the same boat. I think the 4, if she runs her best race, she's probably good enough to get the job done, which keeps me. Dennis said, "Do you think the 1 can get the distance?" I don't know. It's weird. We've never seen it before, so we have no clue. We trust John Sadler. I mean, Aaron's obviously is, and then he says 1.4 million. Yeah, with the 2, I don't want to count people's money. That was not the best investment of all time. You got to move on to race 8. Aaron, I'll throw it to you here. We have a field of 7. Oops, sorry about that. Field of 7. We have Allowance optional claiming $20,000 again. Folks, like, just clap it up for Oaklawn. I don't know what the heck they're doing. I don't know if it's illegal, not illegal, but congrats. This is great. $105,000 purse for a 20,000 tag. Mind you, there are a couple horses in here that come in for the tag. The 2 Laughing Fox and the 5 hit the ticket. All right, Aaron, let's hit a ticket. What do we got here? Well, I see a $5 win wager. I know you went. Of course, that's the horse I put on top. Go ahead. Just keep taking my price horses. Go ahead. You
picked Strong Tide on top on 3 horses?
Yeah. Now, I didn't single, but that's what I put on top.
Well,
Go ahead. I'm done. Go ahead.
You would be
the Rocket Hour is officially the Aaron Halterman hour. So go ahead. Just take it away.
Well, listen, I didn't know you would do this. I thought this was kind of a crazy pick, so I'm excited. Number 3 Strong Tide on top. One thing Ricky didn't mention: this is a mile and 9/16.
Yes, I did forget to mention that. And I'll get into it, but that's the reason I went long because I can't figure this out. But go ahead.
You're not the only one. If you can afford to go all here, it might be smart. I mean, this race is certainly a disaster. A mile and 9/16. I went with Strong Tide. I love the breeding for Strong Tide going long, especially if it was on the turf. But it's okay. We'll get the dirt today. This horse is 8-1, and really, it's just as good as some of the rest of these. This horse likes to win, and a lot of these don't. Accession, is a horrible horse. Laughing Fox is terrible. Clayton the Lionheart, it's okay, but another one, it's just like, come on.
You don't like Accession?
What'd you say?
I said you don't like Accession, who hasn't done anything since the Rebel last year.
Yeah, he's 2-1 in this spot. Okay, I mean, I guess Accession could win here for sure, but I looked at all these. I thought I'm not excited about these at all. And I thought, well, you got really strong connections with some of those horses, so they're going to take money. And here's little old number 3, the Indiana bred. Yeah, there you go, the Indiana bred Strong Tide. With Lauer as a trainer who hasn't won an Oaklawn in forever, it feels like, but gets Florent Giroux aboard. So maybe this horse takes a little bit of money, but I just think it's a good spot to try to take a shot. And I think I'm going to go $5 to win on the 3 and just hope for the best because these horses are terrible. And I know this horse will be running late. So, if he's good enough, I think he can win because he's not facing much.
No, I do agree with Aaron. You could probably make a case. The only case I can't make the only horse I can't make a case for, is the 5. I think that horse stinks. But shocker, a Woodbine runner, right? This is dreadful to try to handicap. Like, this is one of those races where I'm like this, throwing darts and hoping one connects. And I put the 3 on top because of the Too Much Coffee Stakes, November 18th of 2020, for one of the best stakes names I've ever heard. It's much better than the very one. I don't know what the hell that was. The Too Much Coffee Stakes won a mile and a 16th. And was able to win with Marcelino Pedrosa. I'm with you. I think this horse is going to be closing. I like this horse. The only problem is Michael Lauer is 0 for 6 with 0 in the money finishes.
Yeah. Not great.
Yeah, Dennis says, will I wear a sweatshirt outside in the summer? No, because I'm including Laughing Fox. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I actually have no idea. Other than the fact that at Oaklawn, he is 3 for 10. So no, I wouldn't do that. I don't think he's going to win, but I want to try to beat that horse. And then he goes, remember the T-shirt in the summer? Yeah, I don't say things like that unless I know something's going to happen.
Well, I don't think that's accurate. It was Jungle Runner who started that, I think. I don't think it was Laughing Fox, was it?
No, it was Jungle Runner. It wasn't Laughing Fox. Yeah. No, I think he just meant, remember that horse that started? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think he's referring to Laughing Fox because we haven't seen Laughing Fox on March 18th. I don't remember what was going on March 18th. Oh, God, 2 weeks ago. But, yeah, I don't remember. And mind you, Laughing Fox was like 9-2, so I never would have said that then. The 4 jumper we didn't talk about. Another one with some decent early speed. I wouldn't mind seeing this horse on the front. Maybe kind of fits in here. The one excuse me, the one that I'm really interested in is Clayton the Lionheart.
Yeah.
Clayton the Lionheart can go longer, will be another closer. I think he might be sitting the perfect trip. This race kind of comes down to who gets the lead, because I don't know if any of them want it. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe David Cabrera push the envelope a little bit. Now, that's not going out to 23-4. Still probably going to be 24-2, something like that. Again, this is, mind you, folks, this is 3 turns. But I don't know. I'll take the 7 Clayton the Lionheart over Accession, and Clayton the Lionheart just beat this horse. Well, why would I be betting Accession unless I'm going back a year in time? A year in time, they're running the Rebel. You know what else was going on? We were in a pandemic. I was afraid to leave my house. It's bad. This race is a nightmare. I just hope I get by. For you, it's like perfect. This is perfect for the $5, and the reason is you don't know what's going to happen, and you're going to get value. Exactly. I mean, for me, if you play an exactor or try box and it comes in like Jumper over Clayton the Lionheart, you're not going to make anything. So,
right.
It's tough to handicap. I just hope I can get by. And I'm with you. The 3 definitely provide some value. Let's go to the final race, claiming for 12,500 3-year-olds and upward. There is another scratch. That is the 2 Critic, which there are a lot of critics out there in the horse racing world. Nick says, you get here late, the site loads, and the first thing you hear is this race is a nightmare. Yeah, it is a nightmare. This race is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Well, no, not this race. The race before. I actually like this race better, if you could believe that. These claiming runners, I have a better idea. I'll talk about one horse that I put on top, and it's Spin Rate for Ronnie Marquette. The best thing I could say about this horse is he just wasn't good enough. And I happen to believe that last claiming field was a little bit better. I actually really like Derby Code. The only problem, it's like I'm trying to make a case for this horse, right? Let's go back to the debut. Wins, and then they put him in allowance. You know who they face in the allowance? Nashville. That's just tough luck. Like, that's just one of those, like, look, it's unfortunate. Because on any other given day, you try an allowance, non-winners of 2 lifetime, you're not going to run into a horse like that. Then you go to the claiming 50,000 level, you're a closer, and you're on a sloppy track. Oh, well, we'll try gelding him. Of course, to bring him back, and it's over a muddy track. I actually like this horse. Like, I hate making excuses for a horse like that. I really, really do, especially at this level. I want this horse back. I think there are a lot of excuses to make. I used the 4, 7, 10, but I'm really all in on the 7. I really, really do like this horse. What were you thinking here? You have a try box as well, and you did include the 7 Spin Rate as well.
Well, you just keep stealing all my horses because I have the 7 Spin Rate on top.
Well, the difference is this was 7-2, not 8-1. I wouldn't mind if it was 7-2, but 8-1 is.
Did we have the same horses on top for all 4 races today? I think we did.
Well, let's see. We have Spin Rate. Then we have the 3 Strong Tide.
Yep.
Then we have Auction Fever. I think we did. And we had Wayakin.
No, I didn't have Wayakin. Okay, I had the 4 in that one. Okay.
Oh, no, you went 4-7. I went 7-4.
Okay. So
we're like 98.6% the same, which is good. We're both going to be coming on here tomorrow looking like morons, or we're going to be making a lot of money today. I don't know, folks. Find out.
Listen, as long as I don't lose like the always shopping way of losing, I'll be fine. I don't think it could get any worse than that. But let's talk about Spin Rate. Spin Rate definitely. I'm with you. There's a lot of excuses for this dumb horse. I think the biggest thing was, though, they had to drop him in class, and once they did, he ran okay, and I think he'll run good today. I think he's going to get out. We saw him when he dropped in class. He got out to a much better start. He got a lot better positioning, and he got outran. But that this horse was just a little better. But there's not a horse like Derby Code in this one today that's going to win by 8. So I think Spin Rate gets the trip, and I like that about him here. The number 4 horse, Life on the Road. I like when Steve Asmussen claims a horse for himself and then runs him in these lower races. I don't like it when it's other owners that have these horses for $5K or for $12K for Asmussen. But when he owns it himself, I like it. And so I think this horse is going to run well. Life on the Road, kind of the new shooter, so to speak, to Oaklawn after 2 races at Fairgrounds. Asmussen, man, he's not afraid to run these low-level races, and I think Life on the Road makes a lot of sense here. I liked the 3 Fast Recovery a little bit first time out for Diodoro, and it's kind of the same kind of thing. Diodoro claimed this horse for 10, now puts him in for 12. His top ownership group claimed the horse, so I expect a pretty good effort, an improved effort. It really wasn't running horrible at this level anyway. And then to round it out, I thought at 12-1, the number 1 horse, It's My Bag, Baby, made some sense for what I like to do, which is bet the tries. This horse just kind of drops back and makes a run, hits the board in races like this. I don't mind the stretch out in distance either. Hasn't done it a lot, but the one time the horse did run 1 mile and 16th, got 4th, beaten 2 lengths over this track. So I just kind of think this horse chunks up late, gets 2nd, gets 3rd, and kind of spices up the try. So for me, I went 1, 3, 4, 7 for the trifecta box.
Well, before I get into a few of the horses, let's get to a couple of these comments.
Okay.
Something interesting. The 4 was sold from Asmussen to Phoenix and Phoenix Thoroughbreds, went for 10,000, ran for 15, then comes back in for 5, and Steve says, I want him back. Mm-hmm. And then there's another comment, why is Steve Asmussen claiming for a horse for $5,000? Mm-hmm. If you don't know Steve Asmussen, he's one of the best trainers, and he'll train anywhere. Aaron knows that better than me. If you have a horse that you want him to train and you want him to run at Fauner Park, he'd probably consider it. Now, I'm not saying he would, but he'd probably consider it. And again, mind you, folks, just because his name is there, he's not at all these places. You can't clone people. He has assistants at all these tracks. But one of the things that he does that no one else does, he owns these pieces of crap. I don't know why. I don't know if he's hurting for money. I don't know if the IRS is trying to get him in multiple states. I don't know if he has a drug addiction. I have no idea. He owns horses at this level all over the country. And for a lot of the time, I believe he was letting his son ride them, correct? I forgot his son's name. I think that was it said in Houston, I thought.
At Lone Star last year.
Oh, Lone Star. Over the summer. Sorry, Lone Star. I got my Texas tracks confused. Yeah. He was letting his son ride these horses. Why? Because he doesn't have to pay him if he wins. Maybe he will. I don't know. But B, his son wasn't going to get any other opportunities other than riding his own horses. So he does this. He did this a lot at Lone Star. I'm sure he will do it again. Asmussen is like in that Kentucky, Louisiana, Texas. He's not like really up north or on the East Coast as much. He's in that Midwest. And he looks like a Midwest guy. Look at him. He looks like a Midwest individual. Looks like he enjoys his time in the Midwest. Things are a little bit cooler. Pletcher look, Baffert, they look like city guys. You could just, Aaron, you just get that feel. That's why he's doing this, because he just wants a horse to own, or multiple horses to own. We'll touch on the 4, though. You like him. I like him. I don't know. I don't think there's much to include with the Ricardo thing because, like I said before, Ricardo rides for him anyway. Is there anything else you want to touch on other than my diatribe about him being a Midwestern guy? He does have that feel, though. He kind of looks like an actual cowboy a little bit, like he belongs in Texas.
I don't have anything to add. I mean, I'm with Nick. I'm over here going, what is he talking about?
Well, I'll throw if I threw 3 pictures up.
Here, you talk. I'm gonna pull up a picture of him.
Yeah, don't show him in a suit. I meant his normal day. Like Chad Brown when he's at the track. Chad Brown looks professional. He's wearing a vest on top of a button-down shirt and jeans. He looks like he's ready. Asmussen looks like he woke up out of bed, just had a little bit too much breakfast. And he's just and that's fine. That'll probably be me growing up as well. I'm not saying you can't be like that. Like Bob Baffert. He's got the white hair. He's got the fancy suit. He's got the fancy glasses. He looks like a Los Angeles individual. Todd Pletcher, always wearing top-of-the-line suits, looks ready to go. Different individual. That's my point. He doesn't. Okay, well, you picked one of the best pictures of him in. But look at him. Look at his hair. He's all over the place. He looks like a best individual. Do you think he would? Do you think he and his face would do well at the Oscars? No, but I think Bob Baffert would. You got to look the part. You got to look the part. Dennis says, I think the perfect picture is the horseshoe in the hair from the Gunrunner year. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Maybe we could find a picture of that. I'm not sure what he's talking about.
I'll try to find it.
He looks like a Midwest individual, and that's fine. Some people do, some people don't. I prefer a city look. But again, like, I would never go out like that. That's just me. Like, he looks like he's meant for the Midwest, which is fine. Not everything in this country is the same. But you're telling me Bob Baffert would walk out with his hair like that? Or Safi Joe, who's always wearing brand new button-down shirts? Or Pletcher, who's wearing top-of-the-line suits? Like, that's just not the way it is on the East Coast. Sorry, it is what it is. No offense to you, Steve, if anyone's listening or knows him, but hey, it is what it is. I'm an observational individual.
Listen, I pulling out. Here's a good one. Let's do this one. Let's see. Oh no, that's a YouTube video. No, can't do that.
Are you looking for the Gunrunner horseshoe picture?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm seeing it, but not. Here he is at Saratoga. I think he looks. Oh, this is a Racing News article. Wow. Oh, I just Googled it. A Racing News article popped up. How about that? Hold on.
So while he does that, I will kind of set up what we're going to be doing this week. We will talk a little college basketball for 5 minutes before we wrap up here. Someone says about the Buffalo Sabres, they are the worst team ever. Yeah, they are horrible. They lost, I believe, the other night. They had a 3-goal lead and lost to the Flyers. They are pretty bad. All right, look at him. Look at him. You think Pletcher would walk out of the house with his hair looking like that, or his apartment or whatever? Baffert. Now, granted, Chad Brown is like bald, so let's not throw him into that conversation. Who else am I thinking of? Like, he just looks like he always woke up out of bed, like just got out of bed, which is fine. But like, you could see me, like when I come on, your hair, Aaron, is very like you wake up like that. Your hair is like that. It is what it is. For me, like I have to do my hair, just like some people have to do their hair, otherwise it looks bad. Steve's like, I don't give a crap. I could care less, and that's fine. I wish I had that in me. I don't. So he said, since you didn't know someone photoshopped the Gunrunner when the horse got a horseshoe stuck in his tail and won, they did a Photoshop. Okay, so maybe we're not gonna be able to find that. It's a Photoshop. That's why we're not gonna be able to find out if it's a Photoshop. It probably popped up once. So I didn't know that. But that probably would have been funny. And then Nick says, Todd Pletcher dresses like, yeah, he dresses well. He dresses with nice suits and all that stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, he does have the secret agent look, but you can't, like, Todd Pletcher looks like if he went to New York City, he fit in just well. Yeah. Steve Asmussen would be like, whoa, look at the bright lights. Look at this. Look at the tall building. Like, he just wouldn't be prepared. Steve Asmussen looks like he's never went to New York City before. The closest thing he's probably gotten is Belmont. Maybe he flew into JFK once, which is technically New York City. It's just a different way of life. Now I'm going to pull up Bob Baffert, and I'll show the same thing.
Okay.
Look at Baffert. Baffert always has. This is perfect. Baffert always has new. Look, okay, this is perfect with him and his family. Even better. Look at his kid. His kid is even dressed like he belongs in the city. This isn't that picture. But even okay, perfect. Even right there, dressed well. I don't know where the other picture went. Oh, they're scrolling. This is great. So we'll get different. Like look at that. Look at his kid. Look at his kid in a suit. You think Asmussen's kid's wearing a suit? No, he's wearing sweats that afternoon. Right here again. Here we go. Kid in a suit. Wife well dressed. Look at the kid again holding. I mean, this is incredible. So this is my point, right? Multiple Bob Baffert with his suit. In his royal blue suit with his fancy glasses and the wife behind. Gronk. Even Gronk couldn't dress up for the occasion. Hey, Gronk, dress up. It's just incredible, right? justify. I mean, his kid. Look, he even teaches his kid. Thumbs up, buddy. You would just want thumbs up. And then look at this, the beautiful Baffert family.
I mean, the kid looks better than I've ever looked at the track. I'll say that.
Well, that's a shame for you. I don't think. I don't know if that's degrading the kid or not. The kid looks very well dressed. I got to admit. Now, I'm not saying it didn't take him a long time and he wasn't uncomfortable sitting there all those hours. Not saying that. The kid is very well dressed, and Bob's one of those people, like, he cares about his image. That's fine. Yeah. Enough of that. That was a great segment, though. That was probably some of the most fun we've ever had.
Yes.
Thursday, tomorrow, we will wrap up what we saw today. Again, Aaron and I are going to be very right or very wrong because we have very similar opinions. Friday, we will do a little Final Four preview of who we like. I'm sure we both like Gonzaga, so we can keep that close. Keep that short, I should say. And then we have Keeneland. We will be at Keeneland on Friday. Tomorrow, we will be at Oaklawn again. I don't really want to cover Gulfstream right now unless they have – the only time I'd like to is if they one of those days, maybe during the week, they have like state-bred stakes races. But it's probably not happening anytime soon. And you could just look at the jockeys that are still there. You could tell it's not good because they all left. So let's get into, Keeneland. Let's get into, we'll keep our ticket up. We'll stay on for a few more minutes. Let's get into what we saw. Sweet 16, Elite 8. I've been on this show and everywhere saying this is the best college basketball team I've ever seen. Play offense, not defense. Now, again, we have to, I was listening to the coach, not Seth Goldberg, whatever his name is, Seth Gold something, whatever. He was on ESPN, and he said you have to look at the eras. In the eras of one-and-done basketball, where the offense is really poor, this team, Gonzaga, Aaron, when was the last time they just took a bad shot? Like, I don't even remember them taking a bad shot. Yes, everyone misses, of course. It's basketball. I can't remember where I'm like, holy crud, they took a really bad shot that possession. It doesn't seem to happen. So UCLA, if you want to score 51 points, you might lose by 30. Good luck on Saturday night. I'm all in on the 12.5. All in. Because I think USC was a better team. But what have you been seeing from maybe Baylor? I know you're a Big 12 guy. What we're looking forward to. I still want to see that Baylor Gonzaga. It got canceled early in the year. Yeah. If it's not that, as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be a blowout in the final as well.
You know, I'm very proud of my bracket because it is as awful as it was. I got 3 out of the 4 Final Four teams in it, you know? So it's like, wow, that's not bad. Yeah, Gonzaga, listen, OU, I'm a huge OU fan, as everybody knows. We played them in the second round. My dad and I were watching the game, and I said, well, we're playing as good as we can play. Absolutely, OU played maybe the best game they played all year, and they never had a chance. And I was like, this team is really special because we played great and couldn't touch them. Yeah, Gonzaga, definite favorite. I think they're going to win the thing. And I think Baylor will take care of Houston, and I think we'll see the game, like you said, that we were supposed to see way back at the start of the season, and we're going to see it for the national championship. And I think it'll be a good one. I think it's the only possible game, or I guess I should back up. Baylor's the only possible team that can give Gonzaga a game. I don't think they can beat them, but I think they can play with them. Yeah, I mean, listen, Houston, tough team, gritty team. I don't think they can beat Baylor. UCLA, I think you probably say the same thing. Tough team, gritty team. I don't think they can beat Gonzaga. I think the Final Four games will be blowouts.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you personally. I think this thing is over. And I never really thought that it began. This Gonzaga team is unbelievable. Dennis, really? Best player in this tournament has been Johnny Juzang? Really? We'll look up Drew Timmy's numbers. This team scored 51 points. Look, for the sake of the conversation, I'm not going at Dennis. I would say anyone who said this. Gonzaga could score 100 on every team if anyone was remotely close to them. Why is UCLA here? Because Michigan can't score. That's why they're here. Because Franz Wagner, with 5 seconds left, airballed a wide open 3. That's why they're here. Like, I'm sorry. It's Dennis. It's not you. It's anyone. Like, sure, Johnny Juzang's a nice player. He was so good at Kentucky that he transferred. Now, granted, that could be Calipari, and things like that. But and Zaga could have not had Timmy and still get here. Okay, I disagree with that. Look up his numbers. Mind you, this is where the basketball knowledge comes in, Aaron. I'm pretty knowledgeable. Evan Mobley's probably going to be the second pick in the draft next year. Drew Timme embarrassed him. He tortured him. He made him feel like a child, something that Evan Mobley's never done. Again, and Evan Mobley will probably be the second pick in the draft next year, or maybe third. If anyone, it would be maybe Jalen Suggs, because Drew Timme, I'm going to look up Drew Timme's stats now in the last 4 games. Someone tell me if he hasn't belonged. I personally believe that he has. I'm trying to delay here. Okay, here we go. So I have Drew Timme's numbers. So through the tournament games, he's had 10 and 6 in 22 minutes, 30 and 13, 22, 6 and 4, and 23, 5 and 4. 23, 5 and 4 was against an NBA talent. Number 2 overall pick. Yeah, I think I threw that argument out the window. Why is UCLA here? By the skin of their teeth. I have no idea. Aaron, can you touch on that? I don't know how UCLA is here. They keep playing these games when, look, if no one's going to score, like they scored against Alabama, they didn't score really against Abilene Christian. I mean, and Michigan is missing their best shooter. They didn't have their best shooter yesterday. The guy took a 3 with 6 seconds. He airballed an open 3. That's why they're here. Well, I can't. I'm done with UCLA. I can't wait for them to lose by 30, just like everyone else.
I'll comment on UCLA. I hate when people say this. They're getting lucky. I thought they played great against Alabama. So I'm not going to say they got lucky against them. I thought they played a great game. Last night, I thought they were terrible when they won. Abilene Christian, I think they were just better than. They were very lucky to even win the play-in game against Michigan State.
Thank you. I mean, they had to win in overtime.
Yeah.
To another team that shouldn't have been in.
And they caught a BYU team who I think they were equal talent. Then they got a break with ACU, and they were better than them. They played great against Alabama, and then they're just a really tough, hard-nosed team that kind of muddles up the game last night, and it worked somehow. Michigan scoring 49 points after playing so well the game before was the shock. Yeah, I mean,
I'll sum it up by saying they played Alabama. Look at what Alabama shot from the free throw line. It was 11 of 25. They shot 11 of 25 from the free throw line. You know what the optimal word in free throw is? It's free. It's free. And Alabama didn't feel like taking the point. Yeah, I know Alex Reese did a shot to send it to overtime. Alabama should have won. Like, I'm sick and tired of people telling me UCLA belongs. You are what you are. Just like I told Aaron, Syracuse is what they are. Buddy Boeheim, the train stopped. He stopped playing like Kobe Bryant. The train stopped and they lost by 20. It's unbelievable what people like. You are. Gonzaga has been this good all year, right? I mean, there's a reason that we're playing a Final Four game. They're 13.5-point favorites. Mm-hmm. Vegas is telling you they have no chance. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not an expert. I would like to think I know a lot. But Vegas, people that do this for a living, that are getting paid, they put it at 13.5. That's pretty much telling you they don't belong. And if they play Baylor, Aaron, I'm looking at a 7.5, 8-point dog.
Yeah.
And that's the second best team in the country. So what are we doing here? Like, what are we making a case for UCLA for? And this is my ultimate point. I'm sick and tired of these sportscasters that have big platforms that come on and say, "Oh, UCLA, they've gotten here through their defense." Sorry, this is a miss or make league, and Gonzaga does not miss open shots. Give him as many open shots as he gave Michigan last night, and you'll see how many you're losing by. USC, they have size, they have defense, they have length. What was the game? 15-2 before I could even go to the bathroom. I was getting a bag of chips. I missed 13 points already. I mean,
it was crazy.
Yeah, I would love to see this Gonzaga team against like that Kentucky team of 2014. I'm not saying they have more pros, but you're right. Like the game was over before it started last night. Like at 7:25, the game was over. So UCLA's gotten extremely, extremely lucky. They're not better than Alabama. They aren't better than Michigan. They got lucky. And they faced Abilene Christian and a very weak BYU team. Anything else you want to add to, or anything you want to tack on to, whether it's basketball, horse racing, what you did over the weekend, what you saw before we wrap up?
No, not really. One last thing. And I don't know if you'll agree with this or not, but I was very happy for Kelvin Sampson to get back to the Final Four. A lot of people don't like the guy. A lot of people think he's scum. I happen to think he got pretty fairly untreated or pretty fairly treated. I don't know where untreated came from. Pretty fairly treated. He didn't get treated fairly compared to a lot of other guys that have done a lot worse. That is kind of my take on it. The guy had some extra phone calls to players, and we got guys with Adidas agents who are basically buying players, and they get nothing basically. And this guy gets banned from basketball for like 8 years. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know Kelvin Sampson personally, because I don't, but I know him pretty well from the 10 years he spent in Oklahoma. This is not a bad guy, and I'm happy to see him back in the Final Four. So that's my final thought for this win.
Before I get onto that, who do you like in the first at Tampa? I didn't look at Tampa. I know Aaron did, so he'll get you that while I go on my Kelvin Sampson raid. I am very happy for him. Very happy for him. I love to see these blue-collar, lower-level schools in the AAC, Houston finally getting their respect that they deserve. The only reason I don't like Kelvin Sampson is not because it happened once. It's because it's happened twice. Now, granted, you're right. A lot of people have done a lot worse. A lot worse. And they don't get victimized.
No.
But that's the way it is in the media, right? It's like, I'm trying to think of Russell Westbrook. All the numbers, all the stats, it's still not enough. I'm trying to think. Lamar Jackson, won an MVP. Not enough for some people. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but Kelvin Sampson, you could look, he's not a likable guy in terms of he doesn't put a smile on your face. Like when you look at, I don't know, Mark Few. Everyone likes Mark Few. He's never really, I've never seen him yell at his players. I don't know if he even has a high voice. Kelvin Sampson's like always the aggressive guy, and one of the reasons people don't like Boeheim. Like, they don't put a smile on your face. And in college, like a lot of people want that. I'm so happy for him because he is I don't know if I would put him as a top 10 coach right now. If he's not top 10, he's like 11 or 12. Yeah. I think he's a fantastic coach. I know we made a list. Fantastic coach. Unbelievable. And he's done it at multiple programs. I just hate to see it twice because it's like one time is like, you know what? You might have made a mistake. Twice is like, whether you made a mistake or not, you're guilty. That's just, and I'm not saying he is or isn't guilty, but he's a fantastic coach, and I'm happy he is having success. And I love this Houston team. Them and Baylor are a fantastic matchup. Great guard play, not a ton of bigs. Are your guards better than our guards? That's what it comes down to. UCLA is like, oh, is Jalen Suggs not playing, or Drew Timme not playing, or Kispert not playing? Maybe if you don't have your top three guys, we have a shot. And even then, you probably don't.
You know, that Drew Timme, he kind of looks like a Midwestern guy, don't you think?
He's from Texas. He is a Midwestern guy. That's my point. He should be living in Missouri with you. He's a Midwest, or he should be owned. Does he not look like he should be a cowboy on a ranch?
He does.
Apparently, his parents have come out and said, we want him to get rid of it. that stupid goatee thing he has, but he's not doing it because of the run that they're on. But yes, he looks like a Midwestern guy. I absolutely agree. Some people, you get that vibe from some people. Without further ado, that's going to do it for us. We've been on for a long time today. It was great. A lot of recaps, some college basketball in Oaklawn today. We will see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. doing Oaklawn as well. I don't think Aaron and I had any scratches for our tickets as well. So I'll let him go. I know he has some stuff to do. And I have to start looking at Keeneland for Friday. I'm very excited. I looked it over, but I didn't really put anything together. So I'm excited. Aaron might have done that already. I will be doing that now. That's how I knew Fauci was running, actually, because I briefly looked. We'll be there on Friday. Everyone take care. Good luck if you're playing Oaklawn today. And, of course, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and we will see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Take care, everyone.